Hello and welcome to the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame for 2020, the class of 2020. This has been an institution that has been going since the year 2009, and each year the ICC recognises the efforts and the great performances of legends of the game, male and female, who've been playing this great game through the decades. And today we will recognise three new inductees into the class of 2020. Helping us with this induction today, we have three wonderful guests of the game of cricket. Let me introduce you firstly to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar, the first man in history to 10,000 test runs and to score 30 test centuries. Shaun Pollock, former South African captain, over 400 appearances in tests and one-day internationals for the Proteas and over 800 wickets, and a mighty fine lower order batsman as well. And from Australia, 66 ODIs and tests, a pioneer of women's cricket and of women's sport generally, Melanie Jones, who's based there in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. So welcome to all three of our guests today. Let's meet, first of all, Sunil Gavaskar. Sunny, I know that we got a few problems with the rains in Mumbai, but we hope we've got you loudly and clearly. Firstly, give us your thoughts on what the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame means to someone like yourself who's actually in this great institution.
It really is a huge honor to be inducted in this ICC Hall of Fame. One, it is chosen by your peers, those who have played at the highest level, those who know the struggle, those who know what it takes to reach a certain level, those who know what it means to stay at that level for a continuous period of time and to perform at that level under the severe pressure, tensions, expectations, and to keep on doing it year after year. And then at the end of your career, and after a gap of maybe 4 or 5 years, when your peers choose you to be in this Hall of Fame, it is really a very special thing. So yes, I'm very honored that I've been inducted. I'm very honored and very pleased to be here today to get our new inductees into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame 2020. So really is very nice being here today.
Shaun Pollock, let's come to you. You had a long career with the Proteas and you put in a lot of hard work, running miles with that fast medium stuff bowling of yours. At the end of every season, there's sort of cricket awards and everything, but what would a Hall of Fame nomination or a Hall of Fame place mean for you?
It's great, and obviously there's a lot of discussion in the cricketing circles over the years about different players who've played in the different eras, where they would compare. And I think it's just nice that they can all become part of one team in the Hall of Fame. I think you're recognised for your performances and your stature and where you stand in world cricket. So it is a fantastic opportunity for guys to be recognised for their performances. And in many ways, it's almost like the cherry on the top for the end of your career. You've put all the performances, you've got the stats, and then just to be chosen as one of the Hall of Famers, I think that's the cherry on the top for all international cricketers.
Let's come to you, Melanie. Mel Jones down there in Melbourne. Hope everything's okay. We know that there's quite a strict lockdown in Melbourne. We hope you're looking well. You're looking very well, Mel. If I throw the names out, Belinda Clark, Catherine Fitzpatrick, Karen Ralton, and Betty Wilson, they're obviously inductees, and Belinda was the first into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. How big a path is it to follow these great cricketers?
Yeah, it's enormous in so many ways. Firstly, as just purely as a cricketer, because we've used the word pioneers so often within the game. They were certainly that. They were outstanding contributors both on and off the field. And I think for the women's side of things as well is that they're names that not too many people no outside of the cricket bubble. So the ICC Hall of Fame and the induction of now the female players has just opened up so many wonderful stories and a history, a really rich history to the cricket world. And our inductee today is another person who's added immensely to that storyline.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Mal. Well, we've got 3 inductees in our class of 2020. Before we meet them one by one, let's just share with you the history of the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame and what it means.
The ICC Cricket Hall of Fame was launched in 2009 in association with the Federation of International Cricketers Associations as part of the ICC Centenary Year celebrations.
When you're talking about the greatest spin bowlers that ever lived, Shane Warne has to come right at the very top of the list.
Well, Shane Warne is a good friend, but certainly during the times facing him in the middle, he was far from it.
No, IBA Richards, he was the master blaster, as everyone knows.
I was captain for England when Viv made what was then the fastest 100 of all time.
I had to watch Brian Lara score 613 or some ridiculous amount of runs on his own.
The ICC Cricket Hall of Fame recognises the achievements of the legends of the game from cricket's long and illustrious history.
Don Bradman was twice as good as anyone. No matter where you go in the world, if it's non-cricket playing nations, everyone knows the standing Don Bradman had in our sport.
An absolute all-rounder, I have to say, both on and off the field.
The way he took on the opposition, either with his bat, either with the ball.
If you remember the 100 he scored at the Oval, and it was an amazing 100 considering that he had torn his calf, but he just continued on. He'd never give up.
Probably wasn't as gifted as some of that era. He made himself into as good a player because of his mental strength, his capacity to just stick to his strength, stick to his game plans.
It didn't matter which country you were from. I think Imran Khan had that magnetism, that attraction for all fans across the globe.
Charisma, panache, style, that was everything that I saw in Imran Khan. He was a very fashionable player and he was very suave.
You know, he was like the master of that cricket field when he walked onto it.
Bowled 400 wickets, 5,000 plus test runs, 250 plus one-day wicket. For me, a true game changer.
Well, he was a wonderful all-rounder and his contribution to Indian cricket goes far beyond just his on-field performances.
The initial intake of inductees were the 55 players named in the FICA Hall of Fame, which ran between 1999 and 2003. This is supplemented by a select group of inductions each and every year to join the roll call of honour.
Well, now to our first inductee in our class of 2020. I've got some numbers that I'd like to share with you. Firstly, it's a 19-year career, just short of 20 years. And this cricketer played his heart and soul for his country. Over 25,000 international runs in all formats, almost 600 international wickets in all formats, 10,000 runs in Test cricket, and 10,000 runs in ODIs, and over 250 wickets in Tests and ODIs. And he was the #1 batsman in Test cricket and ODI cricket, as recognised by the ICC rankings. He is a colossus of the game of cricket.
Jacques Kallis will be remembered quite simply as one of the best all-rounders to ever play the game. A classical batsman, he was a colossus in the South African lineup for almost 19 years, making him a prized wicket for any bowler skillful enough to penetrate his defence.
Oh, that's a great shot. That is a great shot. My goodness me, what style.
With only Sachin Tendulkar and Ricky Ponting ahead of him in the all-time Test match run charts at the time of his retirement, Kallis's record with the bat often overshadows his tremendous ability with the ball. Combining both swing with an awkward bounce, he became the first player ever to achieve the feat of 10,000 runs and 200 wickets in both Tests and one-day internationals.
What a fantastic shot from Jacques Kallis.
Born in Cape Town in 1975, Kallis began his cricketing journey at Wynberg Boys High School, a stone's throw away from the iconic Newlands Cricket Ground, home to the Western Province stateside, where he would make his first-class debut. Kallis had to wait over 2 years after his Test match debut for his first international century. It came in a thrilling Boxing Day Test against Australia in 1997, which gave the world a glimpse of his tremendous grit and resolve against an Australian bowling attack at the peak of their powers.
That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stroke.
In 2003 and 2004, Kallis became one of only 4 players in the history of Test cricket to hit a century in 5 consecutive matches. This would secure his place in the ICC Test Team of the Year for 2004, an accolade he would go on to achieve a further 5 times in his career. Kallis's immovable presence at the crease, batting alongside South African greats such as A.B. de Villiers, Graham Smith and Hashim Amla, helped his nation to become the #1 ranked team in the ICC Test rankings for the first time in 2009. He went on to help South Africa reach the summit of the rankings again in 2012. Kallis's greatness, however, wasn't just reserved for Test cricket, with his one-day international record speaking volumes about his ability to adapt to any situation.
Good shot, very good shot from Jacques Kallis, straight down the ground for 4.
South Africa lifted the first ever ICC Champions Trophy in 1998, in part thanks to Kallis's 5-wicket haul in the final against the West Indies. Unfortunately for both Kallis and South Africa, this would be his last taste of success at an ICC tournament, as years of heartbreak would follow. His personal records, though, yet again paint a wonderful picture of his dominance at the top level. With over 11,500 runs and 273 wickets in ODIs, he ranks amongst the greatest to have played the format.
Oh yes, that's the big boundary. That's the big one.
Jacques Kallis's stature in international cricket is immense. Along with Sir Garfield Sobers, he is arguably one of the 2 greatest all-rounders to have ever played the game.
Oh, he's bowled it. What a great delivery.
An unstoppable batsman, a marvellous bowler, and an incredible fielder. Welcome to the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame, Jacques Kallis.
I remember getting into South African cricket team as a young man, and you're already, a little bit in awe of sort of the level of performers in an environment like that, the many great players, and in particular someone like Jacques Kallis, who was already one of the leading all-rounders, batsmen in the world. You immediately struck by, his quiet, calm nature, sort of keeps to himself a lot. So I spent a lot of time watching him as a young player and his work ethic and how he went about things, trying to pick up as many tips as I could, and until I gained the confidence to go over and engage him. And then you realize that he's got a very sarcastic sense of humor. Not loud, but behind the scenes, and always happy to have a little bit of a joke and a dig. And then over the many years that we played together, I mean, Jake's knowledge on the game, his knowledge on batting, the support that he played for me as a young captain. But one of those guys that's never going to be the loudest in the room, but when you look over your shoulder, you know that you've got an incredible performer, someone with a steeliness and want to be successful, and very much his own person and his own personality. So I really, playing with Jacques and having him in our environment and watching him become one of the most successful cricketers ever to have played the game was just special, and I was very fortunate to play with him for many years, and we were very fortunate as a country to have him in our team, and I think every team going forward now that he's retired will miss, and the conversation will happen that we wish we had a Jacques Kallis. So I feel very lucky to have played with him and captained him and had him in our environment for as long as we did. So it's wonderful to hear that he's been recognised at the Hall of Fame level. It's certainly well deserved, and I don't think there'll be anyone in the world that can argue with Jacques Kallis and what he did for the game of cricket.
Well, the man who spent so many years in the Project Colours is none other than Jacques Kallis, and Jacques is our first inductee in the class of 2020. Jacques, congratulations to you. It's lovely to see you looking so well in Cape Town. All those years running into bowl fast, standing there, amassing so many runs. How's the body after such a career?
Thanks, Wilkie. Yeah, it's surprisingly holding well together. Good enough to play with golf in that, but it was certainly fun while it lasted. When I started, I think I never ever dreamed of it lasting 20 years. So to sit here and not have too many aches and pains, I think it's a miracle in itself.
Jacques, when you were at the height of your career, how important was the bowling category for you, fast bowling, compared with your batting? Did you compartmentalize the fact that you were a key bowler as well as a top order batsman?
I did eventually, yes. I think obviously once I'd made the side, my main role was to play as the batter. And then kind of did a couple of overs, the first part of my career. And then sort of once I got more established with the batting side of it, realised that there was a big role that I could play with the ball and put some hard work into it. And then sort of towards the middle and end part of my career, when I had the bat in my hand, I saw myself as a batter. And when I had the ball in the hand, then I saw myself as a bowler. Most of the time into the wind, because guys like Pollock always got the wind in that. So at times it was hard work, but fun nonetheless.
I should have added as well that you stood at slip and took many, many fine catches at slip. Sean, is that true? Did you really have the wind at your back at all times and that you let the hard work to Jacques Kallis?
I think Jacques had the perfect physique to run into the wind. He was a strong guy who could deal with any wind that was being blown. But I think Jacques' performance over the years is absolutely been brilliant. Those facts and figures, do you really need to add anything to it? But I think the contribution he made not only to South African cricket, he raised the bar for the batsmen in our fraternity. I think at the time when he came in, the best average was around 40. He took it over 50. And then, the old phrase in the dressing room was, if he doesn't bat, he bowls. If he doesn't bowl, he fields. And, that was the case in point. Unbelievable balance to our unit. And he deserved all the accolades. Yes, he was absolutely superb. And for a long span of time, as you mentioned, 19 years, is pretty impressive for Baby Jakes.
Baby Jakes, I like that. Mel, let me bring you in here, because when you look at Jacques Kallis's numbers and you think of the modern women's game, you think of a player, specifically Elise Perry. When she doesn't play in the side, it disturbs the balance of the side. How crucial is it to have an all-rounder of such great talents with bat and ball?
Yeah, it's the component that every team is looking for in every format of the game at the moment, isn't it? And for me, watching Jacques over his career in all three formats nail it is a testament to his skill. I know as an Australian, we'd always get really excited if we got a couple of early wickets when the South Africans were touring, but then Jacques would walk to the crease and you'd be like, oh, here we go. And that was probably some of the best summers, I think, when the South Africans toured, because all of a sudden it was the best in the world up against each other. And to watch him over the years, particularly against Warne and McGrath, as much as he caused us a lot of pain for many, many a day, it was absolutely scintillating cricket to watch.
Sonny, I want to bring you in here now, because obviously you played so many years with the great all-rounder Kapil Dev. and you were an opening batsman. You spent hours and hours standing against the barrage of fast bowling. We're talking about a guy here, Jacques Kallis, who not only batted at 3 or 4, mainly 3, but bowled quick, stood at slip. What about the mental strength needed to be an all-round player like Jacques Kallis?
Well, when you introduced him, you were absolutely right. You called him a colossus, and it fits him like a glove, the word, because of his performances, in all these 19 years. And of course, you look at his size, he's like a colossus as well. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. It really takes a lot to be able to do all that. It gives the team and the captain of the team so many options, the flexibility. You can, knowing that he can come in and bowl and get you wickets, it gives the captain the opportunity to maybe pick an extra spinner in the team or maybe pick an extra batsman in the team. And it is absolutely amazing to have somebody of that kind of talent in your team. And we generally, when we talk about all-rounders, we talk about, what they do with the bat and what they do with the ball. But, I've covered quite a lot of cricket, India, South Africa, the World Cups, etc. And in all these years that I've covered, cricket for television, I've never seen Jacques Kallis drop a single catch. So we don't actually remember what a tremendous fielder he was in the slips. He never missed anything. And when bowlers know that an edge is going to go to second slip and it's going to be taken 100 times out of 100, they bowl with a lot more confidence. So no praise is too high for this colossus. He fully deserves to be in this ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. And Jacques, very, very welcome to this ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonny. Final word then with you, Jacques. This is a great valet to you with your 19-20-year career with the Proteas. When you finished with the game, I think, what were you, 36, 37? Some say you could have carried on for many more years, but do you feel that you left your career as you had intended and that you look back on a career with great pride and distinction?
Oh, without a doubt. I started when I was 19 years old and finished when I was 39. So, almost, like you said, 19, 20 years. And when you start out, you want to be part of a team that's winning games and you want to be contributing to that winning side. So you're kind of playing almost game to game. And then once you get more established, you want to push yourself. I hated losing. I think that's what really drove me, the passion of winning. And no matter what team I played for, to try and contribute in all three aspects of the game to try and get us to win, because I know what a bad loser I was. That sort of drove me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I certainly didn't play the game for any awards or for anything. It was because I loved what I'm doing. Not many people in the world that can do something and get paid for something that they love. So I knew how lucky I was to be able to do that and cherished every moment of it. And then to finish my career with the way I did, to go out certainly in Test cricket with that last 100. It had special memories for me, and I started my career in Durban Test cricket and finished it in Durban with Test cricket. So kind of the full circle went round. So fantastic memories. I've travelled the world, met people, gone to places I would never have gone to if it wasn't for sport. And then to top it off, to get an award like this, to join the ICC Hall of Fame, certainly the cherry on top, and it's a great honour. And I'm very thankful and humbled by it. So thank you very much for all of that.
Jacques, thank you very much for those words. Congratulations to you, and enjoy being the latest inductee in the class of 2020 into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Well, now to our second inductee for the class of 2020. Again, a pioneer in the game, the first women's cricketer to reach the landmark of 1,000 ODI runs and 100 ODI wickets, a four-time World Cup winner, 2 T20 World Cups and 2 ODI World Cups, a phenomenal record as an all-round player. And to make the introduction of someone who she knows so well from the class of 2019. Let's hear from a former Australian great.
Lisa Sthalekar. I'm sure you remember when your favourite coach told you that when you finish playing, it won't be the awards that you get or what's written about you. It'll be what your teammates say about you, the ones that you shared the change rooms with. And I can assure you that every teammate in every change room had the utmost respect for you. I'm sure that you're really stoked to win this award, and more so that means so much to your family who supported you along the way as well. So it's with great pleasure that I induct you into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame, Lisa Sthalekar.
Lisa Sthalekar 12-year international career is a story of perseverance and resilience. From beginning her career at New South Wales as a specialist off-spinner, Sthalekar batting gradually rose to prominence, helping her become the first woman to score 1,000 runs and take 100 wickets in one-day internationals.
Good work. Oh, I'm gone.
After making her debut for Australia in 2001 against England, Sthalekar became a prominent figure in the Australia lineup. She received her first Ashes call-up in 2003, where in her second test, she scored an unforgettable 120 not out, announcing herself on the world stage as a true all-rounder.
Once again, very full. And this is another good shot. Sthalekar is playing a splendid innings here.
Sthalekar was a pivotal figure in Australia's 2005 World Cup victory, where they went undefeated through the tournament, with Sthalekar finishing with 8 wickets and 165 runs. Further World Cup success would follow in the years to come, but this time in T20 cricket, both in 2010 and 2012, as Australia began building the foundations for what would turn out to be a future dynasty in the T20 format.
So Australia are the world champions. They've defended their title.
Sthalekar curtain call would be at the 2013 Women's World Cup in India. Her superb economical bowling propelling Australia to yet another final.
Bold! And look at the celebration. And that's a sign of a champion.
After taking 2 crucial wickets in the final, Australia secured yet another World Cup title, with Sthalekar announcing her retirement from the game the following day.
Should be gone. It's a marvellous catch. Lisa Sthalekar epitomises this Australian side. Australia are the 2013 Women's World Cup champions.
A game-changing all-rounder on the pitch, and now one of the leading voices off it. Welcome to the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame, Lisa Sthalekar.
So Lisa Sthalekar, Lisa, congratulations. You're in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. All that hard work and all those World Cups and all the bumps and bruises. Is it worth it?
Yeah, it was all worth it because I got to travel around the world. I got to play with some of the absolute legends of the game, you know, those that have already been inducted into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. And we were able to win World Cups, Ashes series. I was part of a very dominant Australian women's side at the time, and I learnt so much about the game, not only on the field, but also off the field, and the legacy piece that all of us play as we go on our journey as a cricketer.
Well, I was going to say congratulations on that 120 not out against England at Sydney in 2003 as well. So I'm going to say that in passing as I move to Mel here. Melanie Jones. Mel, you were a teammate with Lisa for a number of years, and I've heard the word feisty attributed to Lisa Sthalekar as a cricketer. Tell us how important a member of the Australian women's cricket team she was when you were playing.
Yeah, well, she had some good coaches in the feisty realm. One of them we've already seen in Captain Fitzpatrick. So I think we learned not the fast bowling element, but certainly the competitiveness of a few people in the team. You mentioned the 100 in passing. I'm going to go back to it because I had the absolute pleasure of playing in that test with Lisa. And for me, watching her play and develop over all three formats is probably the standout. We so often when we think about Lisa Sthalekar, we think the off-spinning bowler with the cap on revolutionised the game, but also we've got to throw in there, like Jacques before her, the fielding. Absolutely brilliant at the mid-wicket area, just absolutely owned it.
Congratulations, Sthalekar. Good to have another Kerr in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. When they were the first inductees, there were only two Kerrs in the Hall of Fame. There was Gavaskar and there was Jim Laker, and then we had to wait for 10 years to get a Tendulkar into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. So it's very, very nice, the class of 2020, to get another Kerr in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Congratulations, well done, and you are an inspiration. You really are an inspiration, not to women in Australia, but also in India. You come to India. I know you have interacted with women cricketers in India. You interacted with junior women cricketers in India, and so you've been an inspiration. And with your performances, with your dedication, and as Mel said, maybe a little bit of your feistiness. I think you've shown that women can play the game at the highest level, and be as good as men. My sister used to play a little bit of cricket, and I used to occasionally go and watch their practice. And I can assure you, at that stage, the women were practicing a lot harder than we men did. They really put in a lot of effort, and that effort you can now see with the Indian women's team also doing quite well. So Lisa, really wonderful to have in this Cricket Hall of Fame. And just to add to the Kerr thing, while you're the first woman Kerr to be playing for Australia, I just found out through my stats friend that there are three other Kerrs who played for Australia. One is, of course, Rick McCosker. Then there is Max Walker. There's Max Walker, and then there's another one called Robbie Kerr. So you're the fourth Kerr to have played for Australia. So congratulations on your achievements, and welcome to the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Sonny. Thanks very much. I'm glad I'm part of the Kerr family a bit more.
Thank you.
That sounds like a Kerr club within a club. Brilliant. Thank you.
Yes, in the Hall of Fame, you're going to be in one corner. All the Kerrs are going to be in one corner.
Mel, let me come to you now about this. The fact that I know you coach and you do other great work, charity work. You've gone to South Africa. You've gone to India many times. I know that you do great charity work there. Lisa also is part of the Rajasthan Royals set up, encouraging young boys and girls to play cricket. Are you now happy, and I want Lisa to answer this as well, but are you happy that the women's game is growing at the pace that you hoped it would grow? Is it now part of the landscape of overall sport that you're happy with?
Look, if you'd said to me 12 months ago that we'd have 86,174 people at the MCG for a women's T20 World Cup final in March of this year, I probably would have laughed. I probably would have thought that's just not possible. But there's been such huge strides taken in the game over the last year. And a lot of that is because of leadership within the ICC and a lot of the nations. A lot of that is because of magnificent players who are so entertaining and getting the broadcast behind it all for people to see this. So we've made some huge strides. We've still got a long way to go though, and we can't drop the ball, and that's the most important thing. I think, me in Melbourne at the moment in lockdown, we know that COVID is a horrendous pandemic. But at the same point in time, in this time where we've got a little bit of time to think about where we want to take the game, I think we've got to be nice and brave to be able to say, well, this is now the new standard and we need to keep rising all the time.
Lovely, Mel. Let's have the final word then with you, Lisa, as the new inductee into the class of 2020. I still see that endearing and enduring picture from the final that Mel has just described, 86,000 people at the MCG, and there was a tearful Lisa Sthalekar which was
Tearful.
at odds with the feisty Lisa Sthalekar, who we knew as a cricketer. But it told me, and it told a lot of people, that it's been an emotional journey for you, Lisa. Is that how you still feel it? This game, you have an emotional attachment with the game of cricket.
Yeah, I've become a marshmallow now that I've retired. To be honest, I think, when we first came into the game, for Mel and myself, the game was so different. We all had aspirations to one day be able to play in front of big crowds, to see the game televised, to see corporate dollars, commercial partners come on board. That was always the aspirations of all female cricketers before me as well. And each one has played their role. Each generation has allowed us to gain some momentum. There's been a few highs, and there's definitely been lows as well. Yet you feel probably the last 10 years things have really accelerated, and accelerated at a pace that's probably caught up for the fact that over 100 years female cricketers, I guess, have been a little bit discriminated. So everyone's trying to catch up, and that wave of excitement and the growth of the game is certainly wonderful to watch. So to get in front of that crowd and to be on the ground, obviously working that day with the ICC, and to just look up and see so many people there, and they were there for the cricket. Yes, Katy Perry was playing, but they were there to see the female athletes go about what they do best. And so it was emotional because I saw so many former cricketers, and they weren't international players. They were state cricketers. They were club cricketers. They all flew down for this momentous occasion, and for all of us to kind of share it, because we've all played a role, volunteers, club officials, you name it, everyone's played a role. And for everyone to kind of be in that stadium at the same time, yeah, it was emotional, and it certainly got to me. But I just hope that we haven't lost momentum because of this pandemic. I hope that we can still accelerate the women's game at the pace it was going.
Lovely. Lisa, I'm not going to let you go yet, because somebody who played a magnificent innings in that World Cup final just a few months ago at the MCG, former teammate of yours, she's got a few words to say to you as well.
I know you had a great impact on a young Lisa Healy walking into a New South Wales program at 12 years of age. And there you were, running the program, captaining the New South Wales side and playing for Australia, which was pretty inspirational. Even though we gave you a bit of stick back then, it was still an enjoyable time for us, and you encouraged us to go out there, play the game with a smile on our faces, and hopefully one day play for Australia. And I know that was inspirational for a lot of the girls right throughout those programs. The best piece of advice you ever gave me was to not put your hands in your pocket when you're out there in the field, and I think you learned that the hard way. Anyway, congratulations on the induction. It's thoroughly well deserved, and I hope that you can celebrate at home with family and friends.
Well, she's one of my favourite players. I could watch Lisa Healy all day long. I think she's a wonderful cricketer. I'm sure you would feel the same way, Lisa. But now I'm just going to put these names to you: Belinda Clark, Catherine Fitzpatrick, Karen Ralton, Betty Wilson, and now Lisa Sthalekar. You're in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Final word with you.
Yeah, that just blows my mind, to be honest, because when I think of those four names, I think of what they've done for the game, both on the field and off the field. And certainly Belinda Clark was my first captain for New South Wales and Australia. And, she probably still terrifies me a little bit, but to kind of be in the same group as her. And I played a lot of cricket with Karen Ralton and Catherine Fitzpatrick. I played a lot against her and was scared as well. So to be in a group with those girls, I'm pinching myself that, I'm thought by my peers to be as good in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame as them. So I'm very humbled by this honour that the ICC has given me.
Congratulations, Lisa. You've earned your place.
Thanks, Wilco.
Well, now to our third inductee for the class of 2020, a man about whom it was written he was born to bat. Batting was the job that he was born to do, and my word, did he spend a lot of time batting for his country and for his county in England. The man they called the Asian Bradman.
Affectionately known as the Run Machine, Zaheer Abbas remains to this day one of the most stylish and elegant batsmen to ever play the game.
Superb cover drive there from Zaheer, quite effortless.
A master of his craft, Abbas possessed not only fluency and grace at the crease, but also tremendous power emanating from his trademark high backlift.
That's a beautiful shot.
In only his second test in 1971, Abbas announced himself on the international stage with an incredible knock of 274 against England at Edgbaston. His mammoth stint at the crease lasted over 9 hours. Abbas would go on to score a further 11 centuries over his 78 test match career, with 4 of them being double hundreds. His appetite for accumulating runs once he got into his stride was unparalleled at the time.
Away, swept away to finally gets 4 runs.
He was born in Sialkot, Pakistan, but Gloucestershire in England became a second home for Abbas as he represented the county for 13 years, amassing over 16,000 runs and becoming the first Asian cricketer to score 100 first-class centuries.
That's a lovely stroke. It's his half-century, and Richards has no chance, even on 2 good legs, of cutting that off.
Abbas represented Pakistan in 3 ICC Cricket World Cups, and his awe-inspiring ability to play easily off both the front and back foot mesmerized crowds around the world.
Picked that up beautifully.
Abbas was truly ahead of the curve in one-day international cricket, scoring a high proportion of his runs in boundaries and finishing his career with a strike rate of 84. A true legend of the game, Zaheer Abbas, the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame awaits you.
Well, that man, of course, is the inimitable Zaheer Abbas, Zed, as he was known to his teammates. And from a personal point of view, it was a great privilege for me to play in the same county team as Zaheer, Gloucestershire, and just to sit there and watch you bat was one of life's great pleasures. But you did it at the highest level as well, Zed. So it really is, it's a wonderful feeling to know that you are now part of the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Tell us how you feel now after all those years of batting, all those runs and all those hundreds, you're now in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame.
Yes, I must say that the honor to be inducted in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame 2020, I'm really proud. I'm really proud of the honor which ICC has given it to me. That was all my hard work. I really worked very hard to get all this. I'm thankful to all my teammates and everything, which I work for, and they really helped me to do so. I must thanks to Gloucestershire County Cricket, which gave me the exposure to play cricket almost every day. We used to play 5.5 months cricket. T20, our time was not T20, but ODIs. ODI means 40 overs games, 50 overs games, and then 3 days of first-class cricket. And I tell you, that was very difficult. Sometimes it was raining, sometimes it was very cold, and sometimes you have to travel also. You have to go all over the world to play and to do something good for you, for yourself, and for your country. But thankfully, I must say that I've achieved whatever I want to score 100 hundreds. That was my target, and I achieved in the end.
And Zed, not just hundreds, but you actually dealt with double hundreds. You started your career with a 274 against England at Edgbaston. I'm going to bring Sunny Gavaskar in here now, great friend and great rival of yours for India against Pakistan. There were 2 double centuries for Pakistan against India. Sunny, you were on the receiving end of this man batting. And I'll go back to my first statement that one of his teammates, former teammates, said that Zaheer Abbas was born to bat.
Well, firstly, I want to say I'm absolutely delighted at Zed's induction into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame 2020, because no one deserves it more than Zed did. It's just a mystery why he hasn't been inducted, so far. But as they say, better late than never. And yes, you're right. It is the Indian team suffered at his hands. But you know what? When you saw him bat, even if you were on the field, you actually enjoyed watching him bat, although it was at your team's expense because your bowlers were suffering at his hands. But the elegance, the class of the man also made you enjoy. What you try and do in cricket is you also try and learn from your opponents. You try and learn from your opponents how they play so that you can try and bring that into your game to make your game better. And what you could see from Zaheer, from Zed, was his hunger for big runs. He was never happy with just a 50 or 100. He wanted to score a double. He wanted to go more than that. And that's the one thing that struck you about Zed. He was absolutely brilliant, fantastic to watch. I'm very happy to call him my friend because he entered the Indian cricket team's hearts even before India and Pakistan played against each other. In 1971, he had already scored that 274 against England, and then India were playing England, and they were chasing 170 to win at the Oval on the fourth day. And Zaheer, who was in London, came into the Indian change room. Those days you were allowed to come. Today the anti-corruption, security, etc. doesn't allow anybody else to come into the change room. But Zed came into the Indian change room and wished the Indian team well. And I think that no Indian player who was in that particular party has ever forgotten that gesture of Zed to come in to the Indian change room and to wish the Indian team well. And thereafter, of course, a few months down the road, we were together as part of the rest of the world that toured Australia. And again, I think that's where I think our friendship flowered. Our friendship is still there every time we bump into each other. I mean, it's a great joy to catch up with him whenever we get the opportunity to do so. And you called him the Asian Bradman. I've got to, just to digress a little bit, I've got to go back to that 1971 tour where the rest of the world toured Australia. And we were, in those days, you landed on the tarmac, you got off on the tarmac, up the aero bridges, and no other person than the great Sir Don Bradman came to receive the rest of the world team at the Adelaide airport. And so he came and he was talking to me and he was talking to Zed. He was just talking to the two of us. And then Rohan Kanai or Gary Sobers, I don't remember who, looked at us and gathered the other members of the world team and said, hey, have a look. There is the Bombay Bradman, there is the Karachi Bradman, and there is the real Bradman. So, I mean, that was how it was. It was great fun. It was great fun. And I'm so happy that, Zed is inducted into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Congratulations, my friend. Very, very happy to have you in this Hall of Fame, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Master. You know that I always call you Master, and you are my Master. I've learned a lot from you. You know what happened when you went to West Indies and you scored double 100. And I was talking to my friends. Yeah, if you want to be a player, you should be a player like Sunil Gavaskar. And the fame he got when he was in West Indies, I wish I could do the same while Pakistan was touring England. And I've done it so with the style. I scored 274. Then I thought, whatever I wanted, I got it, and inspired by who? my master, Sunil Gavaskar. Thank you, Sunil. You have done it.
Thank you.
And I was really a fan of yours. I am still fan of yours, my friend. and I know that we have very close relationship, and I will nourish that. And I hope we can see more good cricket and we can enjoy it.
I'm going to mention the name Faisalabad to both of you. I'm going to come to you, Sunny, first, but Mel, I want to bring you in here, Melanie Jones. Mel, when you look at the batting exploits and you see the numbers that Zaheer Abbas has got, how important is it, do you think, for all cricketers, male and female, not just to recognize the fact that Zaheer Abbas is now in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame, but for what he's done over a length of time? It's almost like the master craftsman, the same as Sunny Gavaskar for India. How important is it for the modern cricketer, male and female, to know about the great efforts of these wonderful players?
Yeah, it's absolutely crucial, isn't it? It's our history and it's inspirational history as well. I grew up watching World Series cricket in Australia and watching Zed on TV. I'm so honoured to be able to be sitting here talking to him now, because we would then watch these magnificent players in cover drives through the offside. We would then go out and mimic that in the backyard. So I'm probably be quite surprised if he ever thought that he'd be inspiring young girls and boys in Australia through World Series cricket. But he was absolutely brilliant. And when you look at someone like Zed, straight away you think weight of runs. Absolutely phenomenal, unmatched in so many ways. But what I also look at is where those runs are scored. And if you're averaging just a bit short of 50 in World Cups, if you're hitting big runs against the big teams away from home ground, all those sorts of things, that as well, for me, is such a pivotal part to why he's been inducted now, one of the greats.
Zed, of all the achievements and all the masses of runs you scored, Sunil Gavaskar has got one test wicket in his great career as a batsman, and that one test wicket came in the second innings in Faisalabad in October 1978. You had scored 176 in the first innings, and you were 4 short of a second century in the match. 96, on comes Gavaskar, and he gets you out. Sunny, how on earth did you get the great Zed out?
Oh my God, Sunil, why you got my wicket, man? Why you got my wicket?
See, actually now, Wilco, now I know why Zed's induction has been delayed till now, because all those who vote for the induction would have seen that little stat that Zaheer Abbas was out to Sunil Gavaskar, and they must be saying, no, you can't be in the Hall of Fame if you can get out to Gavaskar. And that is the reason it's been delayed all this while. Now I know why.
So Sunil, you have to be blamed. You have to be blamed.
I have to be blamed. That's one of those accidents of fate. That's what happened.
If I would like to become a player like Sunil Gavaskar, I'll be very lucky.
Just before we wrap up this discussion with you, Zed, one of the greats of cricket, of Pakistan cricket and world cricket, would like to pay his respects to you, Zed.
One of the greatest of all time, Asian Bradman, 100 first-class century, one and only Zaheer Abbas has been inducted in ICC Hall of Fame. What an honor for us as Pakistanis, an honor for him too. I remember I had his posters in my room since I was class 8. And I also remember Alan Wilkinson, my co-commentator, mentioned that he played for Gloucester as well with him. He used to get runs at will. 200 first innings, 100 second innings without breaking the sweat. That was pure class. That was Zaheer Abbas. I know him off the field, and I think I haven't met a better person than him. He's my role model, and we are all very proud of you, Zaheer bhai.
It's often said that behind every great man or every great cricketer, there's a great woman. And in this case, I can use that word because Zaheer Abbas, all those times and all those years you were playing cricket, your wife Samina was an inspiration. I know she was, and Samina can join us now. Samina, let's hear from you about the part that you have played in the life of Zaheer Abbas and all his cricket achievements. You've got to take some of the plaudits, surely.
Hello, everybody. No, I don't think, I don't think I need any accolades. I was not on the field, but yes, I'm within. Congratulations, darling. Congratulations. I don't take any praise for it. I'm sure Sunny has something to say to that one.
No, I mean,
but I want
absolutely. I do believe, to have a wife who encourages you, who's there to listen to your complaints about what has not gone right for you on the field in the evenings is a big help. And certainly, I think you've had a major role to play in Zed's career. And so, congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
So Zed, let's get a final flourish from you because you used to finish off a day's play with a flourish every time. A couple of words from Samina and then from you on your induction into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Samina, you first.
I just want to say that on behalf of my husband, we're actually very grateful to the ICC and the jury for inducting my husband in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame 2020. Little late, but I'm sure it's eventually there. Thank you.
And Zaheer, a final flourish from you with that lovely hand movement that you had.
Yeah, thank you very much, ICC. I'm really honored. And it's a great achievement by any player to get ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. And I got it, and I'm one of those lucky guys. Thank you very much, ICC.
We'll have some final words now from Melanie Jones and Sunil Gavaskar on our class of 2020 in the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame. Mel, let's come to you first. 3 different cricketers today in Jacques Kallis, Lisa Sthalekar and Zaheer Abbas. What does that tell you about the great careers of those players and the game we love today in the year 2020?
Yeah, 3 generations of cricketers there that I've had the absolute pleasure of watching throughout since I was a young girl. And when I look at each of them, they've brought so much hours upon hours of entertainment to people, but so much pride within their own countries and teams as well. They've stood tall underneath and weight of expectation of those countries as well and delivered time and time again. So you could say that there are 3 different styles of players. And each of them, I think, at some stage mentioned the word that they were lucky. And I would take that completely out of all 3 of those players because just the mountain of work that they did behind the scenes to get their game to where it was, it needs to be recognised as well. So to any young cricketer out there, you could easily watch any of those 3 players, the way in which they went about it. And that is probably the way to go about your cricket if you want to be one of the greats of the game too.
Nothing comes easy in life, although on the field it might look easy. When Zaheer in particular was batting, it looked so easy and everything came so easy to him. But there was a lot of practice, there was a lot of hard work, there was a lot of thought that he put in, just like Jacques did it in his career. Lisa also did it. You've got to work hard, you've got to put in the hard yards, as they say. You've also got to be prepared to suffer the loss of form sometimes. When you're not getting runs, you're not getting wickets, you're dropping catches, the bad patch that comes in every cricketer's career. You've got to be able to cope with that and lift yourself up. And that's exactly what all these 3 inductees have done. So really, I think while people only see what happens on the field, but the time that has been spent off the field to try and get to that level is very seldom seen. So it's wonderful to see these 3 being inducted. And in this particular year, which has been such a sorry year with the pandemic, I think these are moments of joy.
Thank you, Sonny. Beautiful words to finish. And thank you, Mel, as well. And I think Sonny Gavaskar summed that up beautifully. Moments of joy for all of us who are involved in this great game of cricket. And our congratulations go to our 3 inductees today: Jacques Kallis, Lisa Sthalekar, and Zaheer Abbas, the class of 2020. It's goodbye.